We're going to have the reading of the law before we start today's lesson, which is in Exodus chapter 20, Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and Revelations chapter 22. After that, we'll dive right on in.
Yeah.
Okay, my brother, Exodus 20. Go ahead and read it.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Thank you, Brother Michael. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12. And let's read those last two verses, 13 and 14.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Okay, Revelations 22, my brother, 14 and 15. Go ahead and read it.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Thank you, my brother. That was the reading of the law, which we do in all of the Israel of God locations, because that is your key to salvation. That's the foundation to it.
That's right.
I want to start by saying to you all here in the Bay, good morning.
Good morning.
And it's a blessing to stand before you and actually be back home. I was on the road last week, and it's good to be back and see each and every one of you. Okay? So I want to say welcome home here at Israel of God, where we teach the Bible by subject and title. My name is Brother James. Reading for us is Brother Michael. For those that are watching us online, happy Sabbath to you as well. And, you know, brothers and sisters, we're coming up on a time of the year where people are getting into this spirit and getting into that spirit, okay? And almost every year, without fail, questions come up about some of the things that other people are out here doing and trying to promote. And so I will get a call or I'll get a message saying, Brother James, are we supposed to be keeping the Feast of Dedication, the Feast of Purim? Okay. So in today's lesson, I'm going to try to be proactive. We're going to try to be proactive.
That's right.
We're going to put this lesson out here which is titled Feast of Purim and Dedication. Are they required? That is the question, and we plan to let the Bible answer the question for you, because being that we are in the circle that we are in, where Israel at times want to put the perception out there that they know everything. And they want to make you believe that you're being shortchanged because you're not doing this and you're not doing that, okay? So we're going to put this out there today, and we're going to let you decide, because we're going to let the Bible speak. And the reason, one of the reasons people have these questions is because they eat from multiple tables, okay? You eating from this guy's table and that guy's table, because eating from this table ain't enough for some people, okay? And me personally, I eat from this table and this table only, and I still can't catch up with everything, okay? Because we have a lot of locations with a lot of teachers, and these teachers come with different perspectives and different information, but it's all the same thing. So, but hey, I'm not trying to tell anybody who they should listen to, but that's how people get tripped up. Because you want to eat from that table and that table, that table and that table. Then when you ate from the first table and you got some basic good information, all of a sudden you let all these other tables take it from you, trip you up, get you confused, get you wondering what you're doing because you're eating too much stuff. So we're going to show you something today about dedication and Purim, and then you can decide for yourself if you should do it or not, okay? So we're going to start today's lesson, my brother, in Numbers chapter 12. Let's start in Numbers 12, because I'm not going to tell you to do it or not. You can make that decision yourself. But what we will do is what we always do. We read the book.
Right.
Numbers chapter 12, and let's pick it up at verse 5, Brother Michael. Numbers 12 and 5. 12 and 5. Go ahead and read it, brother.
And the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam.
Yes.
And they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision.
Okay.
And will speak unto him in a dream.
So look, the Lord say, hey, if there is a prophet among you, he's going to speak to him by a vision or by a dream. That's how he's going to talk to that prophet that's among you. Go ahead and read, brother.
My servant Moses is not so.
He said he don't talk to Moses like that. What verse was that, brother?
I'll repeat 7.
Go ahead.
My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth.
He will speak how?
Mouth to mouth.
He's speaking mouth to his servant Moses. Go ahead and read.
Even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore, then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?
So then he asked Miriam and Aaron, why were you not afraid to speak unto my servant Moses like that, when he's the only one on the planet that I talk to face to face, mouth to mouth? You should be afraid of that, is what the Lord is saying. But I went here to show you that he spoke to Moses like that. And we're going to need that information later when we come back on into this lesson. Exodus chapter 39, and we're going to pick it up at verse 32. Exodus 39 and verse 32. Go ahead and read it, brother.
Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished.
Okay, so now they finished the tabernacle. Go ahead and read.
And the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses.
Go ahead.
So did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent and all his furniture, his tacks, his boards, his bars, and his pillars, and his sockets.
Okay.
And the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of badger skins, and the veil of the covering.
Yes.
The ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat.
Okay, so now we see all of these things that's in the tabernacle. They got it in there. Go ahead, brother.
The table and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread.
Go ahead.
The pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order.
Go ahead.
And all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light.
Go ahead, brother.
And the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door. The brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves and all his vessels, the laver in his foot.
Okay, so now skip down to verse 43 and continue.
And Moses did look upon the work, upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded. Even so had they done it. And Moses blessed them.
So now we see they finished all that work. So let's go into the next chapter and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, on the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony.
Now I want y'all to pay attention to what he just said. In verse 2, read that verse 2 again, brother.
On the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation.
So now we got the first day of the first month. First day of the first month of the year. But we've already read that they finished it, right? Go ahead and read, brother.
And thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and light the lamps thereof.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony.
So you're gonna set this altar up, okay? Go ahead and read.
And put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before.
What kind of altar? What is the altar for?
The burnt offering.
The altar is for a burnt offering. The altar is for a burnt offering. Go ahead, brother.
Before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation.
And
thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that there is, and all that is therein.
So now he's telling Moses, first day of the first month, anoint that tabernacle, right?
Right.
Go ahead and read.
And shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy.
Go ahead, brother.
And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering.
So now he's going to anoint the altar of the burnt offering. So the anointing is going on first day, first month. Go ahead.
And all his vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy.
Go into the 16th chapter. Go ahead and read.
Thus did Moses, according to all that the Lord commanded him, so did he.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up.
So now we see again, it's the first day of the first month. We got to remember this. Skip down to verse 21 and continue.
And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as the Lord commanded Moses.
Skip down and read verse 25.
And he lighted the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil.
So he put the altar in the tent. Go ahead, brother.
And he burnt sweet incense thereon, as the Lord commanded Moses.
Go ahead.
And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle. And he put the altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as the Lord commanded Moses.
So now we're going here for a reason to show you guys why this went on and what actually happened. So now let's go into Leviticus, the first chapter. You can probably turn one page in your Bible. You'll be in Leviticus, the first chapter, so we can get to it. Leviticus chapter 1, verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
And the Lord called unto Moses, and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man of you bring an offering unto the Lord, you shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd, and of the flock.
Yes, sir. So skip down to verse 7 and continue.
And the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall put fire upon the altar, and lay the wood in order upon the fire. And the priests, Aaron's sons, shall lay the parts, the head and the fat, in order upon the wood that is on the fire, which is upon the altar.
So we see what that altar is for, right? So now let's go into Hebrews 10 real quick, and we're going to come right back this way to Numbers. Hebrews 10. Let's look at something real quick, and then we're going to come right back to Numbers, okay? Hebrews 10, and let's pick it up at verse 6, because I have to just clear up what that altar is for. Hebrews chapter 10, and let's start at verse 6, brother. 10 and verse 6. 10 and 6. Go ahead and read it.
In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin, thou hast had no pleasure.
Go ahead. That was verse 6?
Yes, sir.
Skip down to verse 8 and continue.
Above, when he said, sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings and offering for sin, thou wouldst not, neither hadst pleasure therein, which are offered by the law.
So now the Lord didn't have any pleasure in Israel doing these animal sacrifices for a couple of reasons. But we see that he had no pleasure in it. And let's go ahead and continue, brother.
Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O God.
Yes.
He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second.
Go ahead.
By the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all.
When? Once for all. That's what we're sanctified by. And once Jesus sacrificed himself, the sacrificing was done with, brothers and sisters.
That's right.
So there was no more need for an altar. But let's continue down, drop down to verse 18 and read that, brother.
Now where remission of these is, there is no more offering for sin.
Ain't no more offering for sin. We got that, right?
Yes.
So now let's go back to Numbers chapter 7. I just had to show you that. Let's go back to Numbers chapter 7, because you're going to run into the people and they're going to tell you, happy dedication, Israel. You're going to be like, huh? Should we be doing that? Numbers 7, and let's pick it up at verse 1, my brother. Numbers 7 and verse 1. Numbers chapter 7 and verse 1. And I have some pictures for y'all today too, okay? Numbers 7 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
And it came to pass on the day that Moses had fully set up the tabernacle and had anointed it and sanctified it and all the instruments thereof, both the altar and all the vessels thereof, and had anointed them and sanctified them.
So we already read when he anointed them on the first day of the first month. We already read that. Go ahead and continue.
That the princes of Israel, heads of the house of their fathers, who were the princes of the tribes, and were over them that were numbered, offered.
Okay, so now all the princes of Israel, 12 of them. So now they are getting ready to do what they do. Skip down and hit verse 10, brother. Go ahead and read it.
And the princes offered for dedicating of the altar.
For the what of the altar?
Dedicating.
The dedication of the altar. So they offered. Go ahead, brother.
In the day that it was anointed.
And we read what day it was anointed. The first day of the first month. Go ahead, brother.
Even the princes offered their offering before the altar.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, they shall offer their offering, each prince on his day.
So each prince on his own day. Go ahead.
For the dedicating of the altar.
For the dedicating of the altar. Go ahead.
And he had that offered his offering. The first day was Nahshon, the son of Amminadab, of the tribe of Judah.
Okay, so we got somebody offered on the first day. Skip down and read verse 42, brother. Continue.
On the sixth day, Eliasaph, the son of Duel, prince of the children of Gad, offered.
Okay, so now on the sixth day, this brother offered. Skip down to verse 60 and continue.
On the ninth day, Abidan, the son of Gideoni, prince of the children of Benjamin, offered.
Skip down to verse 78 and continue.
On the 12th day, Ahira, the son of Enan, prince of the children of Naphtali, offered.
Go ahead and down to verse 84 and continue.
This was the dedication of the altar.
This was the dedication of what, brother?
The altar.
Which we have already read in Hebrews. We don't need them anymore. Right?
Right.
Anybody doing any sacrificing in 2024? Okay. Finish that verse, brother.
In the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel, 12 charges of silver, 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold.
Now go into the 8th chapter and pick it up at verse 1. Numbers 8 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron, and say unto him, when thou lightest the lamps, the 7 lamps shall give light The 7 lamps shall give light over against the candlestick.
Okay, so how many lamps do we have?
7.
How many
7.
do we have? Read that verse again, brother.
Speak unto Aaron and say unto him, when thou lightest the lamps, the 7 lamps shall give light over against the candlestick.
So he told Moses to go with 7 lamps. Can we get a picture of those of the menorah from up there from our audio video team? Let's look at that menorah right there. That's the real one right there, y'all. 7. Okay? So now, let's go into the 9th chapter. You can take it down now. Let's go into the 9th chapter and pick it up at verse 1. 9 and 1. Numbers 9 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the 1st month of the 2nd year after they were come out of the land of Egypt.
So we still talking. This is done they did it in the 1st month of the year. Go ahead and read, brother.
Saying, let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season.
Keep the Passover when, brother?
At his appointed season.
Because every feast day has an appointed season. Every feast day has an appointed season. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 4.
Yes, go ahead. Skip down to 4 and continue.
And Moses spake unto the children of Israel that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the 1st month at even in the wilderness of Sinai.
Yes.
According to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So did the children of Israel.
And we can go see that in Leviticus chapter 23. Okay, we can go read that. So now let's go into 2nd Chronicles and pick it up at chapter 5. Because we've already established that when Moses had finished when they finished building that tabernacle of the congregation and that altar, they had to dedicate it. Okay? So now let's go look at another one. We go in 2nd Chronicles 5. We're going to pick it up at the 1st verse. 2nd Chronicles chapter 5 and verse 1. Because you're going to get people trying to do stuff and they can't reason it out of the Bible while they're doing it right now. But they come across as if, hey, I know more than you. And since you're not doing this, you're not serving the Most High the right way. Okay? But when you have some understanding, they can't come hit you like that. Okay? So now 2nd Chronicles 5 and 1. Go ahead and read it, brother.
Thus all the work that Solomon made for the house of the Lord was finished.
So Solomon built a house for the Lord just like Moses and Israel built a tabernacle for him and put an altar in it. Go ahead and read.
And Solomon brought in all the things that David his father had dedicated, and the silver and the gold and all the instruments put he among the treasures of the house of God.
Go ahead.
Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the chiefs of the fathers of the children of Israel unto Jerusalem.
So everybody, go ahead.
To bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of the city of David, which is Zion.
Yes.
Wherefore all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king in the feast which was in the 7th month.
So now this is the 7th month of the year right here. Let's go into the 7th chapter. 2nd Chronicles chapter 7. So we've read that just like Moses and Israel finished building the tabernacle, finished erecting that altar, and they did a dedication to it. So now Solomon just finished building the temple. Okay, let's go into chapter 7 and pick it up at verse 1. We're going to skip a little bit. 7 and 1. Go ahead and read it, brother.
Now when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Lord filled the house.
Skip down to verse 4 and continue.
Then the king and all the people offered sacrifices before the Lord.
Skip down to verse 7 and continue.
Moreover, Solomon hallowed the middle of the court that was before the house of the Lord. For there he offered burnt offerings and the fat of the peace offerings, because the brazen altar which Solomon had made was not able to receive the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and the fat.
So he did a dedication anyway because the altar wasn't big enough. Okay. So he did it in the court. But go ahead, brother, continue.
Also, at the same time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all Israel with him.
Go ahead.
A very great congregation from the entering in of Hamath
Go ahead.
unto the river of Egypt.
Go ahead.
And in the 8th day, they made a solemn assembly, for they kept the dedication of the altar 7 days.
They kept it how many?
7 days.
Go ahead and read.
And the feast 7 days.
So now, go ahead and continue.
And on And on the 23rd day of the 7th month,
which is the 8th day, which we have a holy convocation. Go ahead and read.
he sent the people away into their tents, glad and merry in heart for the goodness that the Lord had showed unto David and to Solomon and to Israel, his people.
Okay, so now what we have here is, which not too long ago we kept tabernacles. You have holy convocation on the 1st day and on the 8th day. Solomon did the dedicating of the altar in the house for 7 days, and then they went right into the 7 days of tabernacle, and then they had the 8th day. So he did it in the 7th month. He did it for 7 days. Moses did it in the 1st month for 12 days. Why did they do it? They both had just finished building a new house and a new altar. Okay? That was their reason for doing it. New house, new altar for sacrificing. Okay?
Got you.
That's why they did it. Now the question is, did Moses do a dedication every year? Did he? What about Solomon? They didn't do a dedication every year. They had a reason for doing it. New house, new altar. Dedication. Bam. One of them in the 12th month, one of them in the 7th month.
Makes sense.
Simple, right?
Yes.
Did we finish that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go into 1 Kings chapter 8. Let's finish up with Solomon. 1 Kings 8. We're going to pick it up at 63 just to be clear. 1 Kings chapter 8. Because I'm looking around and I'm trying to see what you dedicated in 2024. Where your altar at, brother? Huh? And what you burning on it? What you sacrificing on your altar? The blood of Christ ain't good enough for you? Talk to me. 1 Kings 8 and 63, my brother. Chapter 8 and verse 63. I'm telling y'all, preachers and teachers and ministries and churches is like walking down the cereal aisle at Safeway. They got your flavor. Huh? If you want to be tempted and lured away, they got a box of cereal perfect for you. Oh, you like different colors? We got that. You like them crunchy? We got that too. You like the ones that get soggy fast? Whatever you want, we got it. They have misleading stuff out there all over the place for you. And it's not hard to find. Okay? 1 Kings 8, 63. Go ahead and read it.
And Solomon offered a sacrifice of peace offerings, which he offered unto the Lord. 22,000 oxen.
Yes.
And 120,000 sheep. So the king and all the children of Israel dedicated the house of the Lord.
Go ahead.
The same day did the king hallow the middle of the court that was before the house of the Lord. For there he offered burnt offerings and meat offerings and the fat of the peace offerings. Because the brazen altar that was before the Lord was too little to receive the burnt offerings and meat offerings and the fat of the peace offerings.
Go ahead, brother.
And at that time Solomon held a feast, and all Israel with him, a great congregation from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Egypt.
Go ahead.
Before the Lord our God 7 days, and 7 days, even 14 days.
See, I'm telling y'all, they did that thing. He had 7 days for the dedication, 7 more for tabernacles. Go ahead, brother.
On the 8th day, he sent the people away.
So on the 8th day, of course, on the 8th day, we know you do have a solemn assembly. Okay, so they had that, and after that, sent the people away. Go ahead and read, brother.
And they blessed the king and went unto their tents joyful and glad of heart.
Yes.
For all the goodness that the Lord had done for David and his servant, and for people, and for Israel, his people.
So we got 2 different dedications. Let's go get this last one. Let's go to Ezra chapter 6. Because we got some pictures to show y'all. Ezra chapter 6. And let's pick it up at verse 1, brother. Ezra 6 and 1. Now this, okay, we're going to read it. Let me stop talking. Ezra chapter 1.
Chapter 6.
Yeah, I'm talking chapter 6 and verse 1. Ezra 6 and 1. Ezra chapter 6 and verse 1. So we got the 12, we got the 1st month for 12 days of dedication. And we got the 7th month for 7 days of dedication. Why? New house of the Lord, new altar. Ezra 6 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Then Darius the king made a decree And search was made in the house of the rolls where the treasures were laid up in Babylon.
Go ahead, brother.
And there was found at Achmetha in the palace that is in the province of the Medes a roll, and therein was a record thus written. In the first year of Cyrus the king, the same Cyrus the king made a decree concerning the house of God at Jerusalem.
So now you can go read this. This was when Cyrus said to himself in the first chapter of Ezra. But this is later when Darius the Mede was ruling, and they found this decree that Cyrus had put out there. Go ahead and read, brother.
Let the house be builded, the place where they offered sacrifices.
Wait a minute. He said he made a decree concerning the house of God at Jerusalem, and he said, let that house be builded, the place where they do what, brother?
Offer sacrifices.
Go ahead and read.
And let the foundations thereof be strongly laid, the height thereof 60 cubits.
Yes.
And the breadth thereof 60 cubits.
Go ahead.
With 3 rows of great stones and a row of new timber, and let the expenses be given out of the king's house.
Go ahead.
And also let the golden and silver vessels of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took forth out of the temple, which is at Jerusalem, and brought into Babylon, be restored, and brought again unto the temple, which is at Jerusalem.
So now they say, let all that stuff that Nebuchadnezzar took away and took it up to Babylon, let all those goods be taken back. Go ahead, brother.
Everyone to his place, and place them in the house of God.
Okay, so now, what verse was that? Was verse 5?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Skip on down, my brother. Pick it up at verse 7. Go ahead.
Let the work of this house of God alone. Let the governor of the Jews and the elders of the Jews build this house of God in its place.
So now they're going to rebuild another temple. So we already know what happens when they finish building a temple and an altar. Go ahead and continue, brother.
Moreover, I make a decree, what you shall do to the elders of these Jews for the building of this house of God, that of the king's goods, even of the tribute beyond the river, forthwith expenses be given unto these men, that they be not hindered.
So give them whatever they need and do not hinder these brothers. Go ahead.
And that which they have need of, both young bullocks and rams and lambs, for the burnt offerings of the God of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, and oil, according to the appointment of the priests which are at Jerusalem.
Yes, sir.
Let it be given them day by day without fail.
So now, once again, Israel has autonomy over how they're building this house of God and the way they're going to do it and what they're going to do with it. They control that, okay? They got a stranger that's in power, has given them autonomy and say, give them whatever they need. And they're going to build it how they want it and use it how the Lord told them how to use it, okay? Skip down, my brother, and hit that verse 11. What did it say?
Also, I have made a decree that whosoever shall alter this word.
So now he's making another decree. He said, whoever alter this word, go ahead.
Let timber be pulled down from his house, and being set up, let him be hanged thereon.
Let that man's house be pulled down and let him be hanged if you get in Israel's way of building that temple. Go ahead and read what else.
And let his house be made a dunghill for this.
And let his house be made a dunghill. Skip down to verse 15 and read it, brother.
And this house was finished on the 3rd day of the month Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king.
So Adar is the 12th month, brothers and sisters. Adar is month 12. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the children of the captivity kept the dedication of this house of God with joy.
So now they kept the dedication in the 12th month. So we see Solomon did it in the 7th month for 7 days. Moses did it in the 1st month for 12 days. And Ezra, Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, these brothers, they did it in the 12th month. We don't know how many days, but we know they did it in that 12th month. So now let's go to Daniel chapter 6 and then, chapter 9. Then we got this article to read to you. Daniel chapter 9. So each time we got a new altar erected and a new house of God built, there was a dedication that happened. We can't read one time that Ezra and Nehemiah and those guys kept the dedication every year. Can't read one time that Moses kept it every year, and you can't read one time that Solomon and those guys kept the dedication every year. We see the pattern. After it's built, they dedicate it, and that's it. So now, Daniel 9:26, what that say, brother?
And after 62 weeks
Mm-hmm.
shall Messiah be cut off,
Yes.
but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And the end thereof shall be with a flood.
Yes.
And unto the end of the war, desolations are determined.
Uh-huh.
And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
Yes.
And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease.
So when Messiah came, when he died, he caused the sacrificing and the oblations to cease. Like when he died, the veil of the temple where they sprinkled the blood, it ripped in half from top to the bottom, which lets you know no more blood is getting sprinkled. So I don't know who's dedicating altars nowadays or what they putting on it. Okay? But we saw the 3 times here where a new altar and a new house was built and how they did it and what it was for. The altar was for burnt sacrifices. That's what they were for. So now, let's go to that article about Hanukkah, my brother. Read that article right there. Yeah, this one right here. Give them the source.
All right. Sources from Mary Fairchild, October 19, 2020. The Feast of Dedication, or Hanukkah, is a Jewish holiday also known as the Festival of Lights.
Y'all see those 3 names? Hanukkah, Dedication, or Festival of Lights. Go ahead, brother.
Hanukkah is celebrated during the Hebrew month of Kislev.
Hold on. Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
Late November or early December.
Go ahead.
Beginning on day 25 of Kislev and continuing for 8 days and nights.
Mm-hmm.
Jewish families gather to say prayers and light candles on a special candelabra called a menorah.
Okay, go ahead.
Typically, special holiday foods are served, songs are sung, games are played, and gifts are exchanged.
Give what?
Gifts are exchanged.
Go ahead, brother.
The story of Hanukkah, which tells the origins of the Feast of Dedication, is recorded in the first book of Maccabees.
Mm-hmm.
Hanukkah is called the Feast of Dedication because it celebrates the Maccabees' victory over Greek oppression and the rededication of the temple in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. To remember this miracle of provision, candles are lit and burned during the 8 days of the Feast of Dedication.
So now, can we put the stranger's menorah up there on the screen? Y'all see that? We saw Moses had 7 candles when they did the dedication.
Right.
But we got people right now in 2024 doing a dedication and they got 9 candles. That don't match the book, does it?
No, sir.
Can you put both of them up there together, please? Look at that. 2 different things. The Lord told Moses to use how many? 7. You got the strangers doing 9, and Israel will follow that stranger. Israel will follow that stranger right now today. Will follow him. Let's go into Revelations chapter 3, my brother. Let's read verse 9. You can take them down. Revelations 3 and 9. Israel is following that stranger sometimes. That stranger got a 6-point star. Israel go put that 6-point star on. The book says it's a star of Remphan. David didn't have no star. Revelations 3 and 9, my brother. Read that.
Behold,
yeah,
I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews.
He said the people of the house, the church, the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews. Go ahead, brother.
And are not.
What color those letters, brother?
Red.
They are not. Go ahead.
But do lie.
Uh-huh.
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet.
Yes.
And to know that I have loved thee.
He said, I'm going to show you. But watch this here. Put that next image up there, image number 4. That image number 4. Y'all see that image? Can y'all see that image right there? And it smells like Christmas. Strangers scheduled for Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights or dedication this year in 2024, starts Wednesday, December the what? Huh? And it's going to go through Thursday, January the 2nd, and they call those 9 candles a menorah. But the word of God called 7 candles of menorah. And see all them lights in the back and say they sing songs and exchange gifts. Hey, man, if you want to do Christmas, just say that.
Right.
That's what you want to do Christmas. Don't lie on the Bible.
Right.
Put that next article up there, that next picture up there, please. Y'all watch this. So that y'all can see this real good. Moses did it for 12 days in the first month of the year. They're your scriptural references. Solomon, 7 months for 7 days. Ezra and Nehemiah did it in the 12th month. But they didn't do it every year. They just did it after they finished doing something. And that was it. So where is an altar today? Why do you have one? What are you burning on it? Why wasn't the blood of Jesus good enough for you? Why wasn't that sacrifice good enough? So what are you doing? Huh? So now, you can take it down. Let's go Jeremiah 10. Because we don't listen. Israel got a listening problem. Jeremiah 10, my brother, let's pick it up at verse 1. Jeremiah 10. And see, the thing about it is you doing it in the 10th month where I could see it if you did it at one of them times we just saw. If you did it in the first month, I could see it. If you did it for 12 days, maybe. Or if you did it in the 7th month for 7 days. Or if you did it in the 12th month. But you doing it right when they jingle belling and mistletoeing and ho-ho-hoing.
Yeah.
That's when you do it. Man, that thing smells like Christmas to me. 10:1, my brother. Go ahead and read.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Learn not the way of the heathen.
What did he say?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
The heathen is doing this stuff. Israel ain't doing this. Go ahead and read.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Uh-huh.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
Yes, they are. So look, let's go Daniel chapter 3. Because I just want to show y'all that Israel was not the only ones that did dedications. Other people did them too. But does that mean we have to do it with them? Does it? You might be dedicating a spot for you to cut your cat's legs off. I don't know what you're doing, man. Daniel chapter 3 and verse 1. Daniel 3:1, my brother. Daniel chapter 3 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold,
yes,
whose height was 60 cubits,
mm-hmm,
and the breadth thereof 6 cubits.
Yes.
He set it up in the plain of Dura,
mm-hmm,
in the province of Babylon.
Go ahead.
Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains,
mm-hmm,
the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
Don't that sound like when Solomon called for all the chief princes and everybody to come?
Yep.
Sound the same thing.
Sure does.
But this is a Gentile. Go ahead and read.
Then the princes, the governors, and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
Mm-hmm.
And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up.
So I went there to show y'all that strangers can do dedications too. And I don't know what they're doing over there in the land right now, but Israel has picked up on that stuff and trying to do it when you never saw a reason nowhere in scripture to do a dedication every year in the 10th month where they exchange gifts. No, let's go Luke 23, brother. Luke chapter 23, let's pick it up at verse 4. Because you had a stranger standing up over Israel, an Edomite, your long lost brother, but he's not Israel though. Luke 23, let's pick it up at verse 4. 23 and verse 4, my brother, 23 and 4. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
Then said Pilate to the chief priests and to the people,
Mm-hmm.
I find no fault in this man.
Uh-huh. Talking about Jesus, go ahead.
And they were the more fierce, saying, He stirred up the people, teaching throughout all Jewry, beginning from Galilee to this place. When Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked whether the man were a Galilean. And as soon as he knew that he belonged unto Herod's jurisdiction.
Wait a minute, he belonged who?
Herod's jurisdiction.
So Jerusalem was Herod's jurisdiction. An Edomite, not an Israelite. Go ahead, brother.
He sent him to Herod, who himself also was at Jerusalem at that time.
So now let's go into the Atlas of the Bible and let's go to page 166 and 166 and 67. And let's read a little bit about Herod. Go ahead and read that, brother.
Having secured firm control of his kingdom, Herod concentrated on his massive building program, whose stupendous remains are still to be seen. The siege-battered walls had been rebuilt, and a massive new fortress, the Antonia, had been constructed. Herod also built a theater and a hippodrome in the city and an amphitheater on the plain nearby. A splendid new royal palace rose in Jerusalem. A more grandiose scheme was the construction of a new port city Herod called Caesarea, also in honor of the emperor on the sandy Mediterranean shore at the site of Stratos Tower. There were construction projects everywhere.
Everywhere he had construction projects. Go ahead, brother.
The project for which Herod is best remembered, however, is his rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem. Although he dedicated the temple in 18, the full realization of his grand plan took 84 years.
So you got a stranger doing a dedication? Huh? Did Israel have autonomy right there? But I did other research which suggested that he added on to Ezra and Nehemiah and Zerubbabel's temple, even building Solomon's porch, okay, which could hold thousands of people and cover them up. But go ahead and finish that.
To many Jews, however, Herod was a foreigner.
He was what?
A foreigner.
Go ahead.
Without a claim to the throne.
He was a foreigner with no right claim to be on the throne in Jerusalem because he wasn't Israel. So what makes you think you can go build something and dedicate something to who and to what? Okay. So now let's go to John chapter 10. John 10, and let's pick it up at verse 22. Because some of the people will say, well, Jesus celebrated the dedication. And I said, for real? Where? In John 10. Okay, well, let's go over here and see then. John 10, and let's pick it up at verse 22. 10 and 22. Now, we read that Herod did a dedication, did we not?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read 10 and 22. What does it say, brother?
And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Then came the Jews round about him and said unto him.
Now let's see. So Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Now let's pay attention to this conversation. Go ahead and read, brother.
How long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Christ, tell us plainly. Jesus answered them, I told you, and you believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me.
Go ahead.
But ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep.
That's right.
As I said unto you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them.
Go ahead.
And they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand.
Go ahead.
I and my Father are one.
So he said, I and my Father are one. Go ahead and read.
Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. Jesus answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which of those works do ye stone me? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not.
Go ahead.
But for blasphemy, and because that thou, being a man, makest thyself God.
Go ahead.
Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law? I said, you are gods.
He said, isn't it not written in your law that I said? Because he dictated the law in the Psalm. He dictated that to David. Skip down to verse 37 and continue, brother.
If I do not the works of my Father, believe me not.
Skip down to 39.
Therefore, they sought again to take him, but he escaped out of their hand. And went away again beyond Jordan into the place where John at first baptized.
So he went away. Did Jesus celebrate the Feast of Dedication, what we just read?
No.
No, he didn't. That conversation, according to my watch, was about a minute and a half long. I don't know how long it was there in person, but we skipped 2 verses. Don't look like he celebrated it to me. But let's go to John 7 and show you what it looked like when you partake in a feast. Let's go John chapter 7 and pick it up at verse 1. 7 and 1. Let's see what it looked like. 7 and 1, my brother. 7 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee. For he would not walk in Jewry.
Why?
Because the Jews sought to kill him.
He wasn't going to go through the hood. They call that Jewry. Because Israel sought to kill him. Go ahead, brother.
Now the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand.
Now we know where the Feast of Tabernacle is.
That's right.
We know when you do it and how you do it and on what day. Okay? Skip down, my brother. Hit that verse 14 and continue.
Now about the midst of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and taught.
And did what?
He taught.
Don't Brother Boy teach us during the feast? He's participating in it, huh? Skip down and read verse 19.
Did not Moses give you the law?
Who gave you the law?
Moses.
Go ahead.
And yet none of you keepeth the law? Why go ye about to kill me?
So Jesus told you plain, Moses gave you this stuff. So he even gave us the feast days. So the Bible can let you know if you should be participating in a Feast of Tabernacle, a Feast of Dedication in 2024. Moses didn't give it to you. And when Moses did, he did it one time in the first month for 12 days. Solomon did it one time in the 7th month for 7 days. Zerubbabel, Ezra, Nehemiah, they did it in the 12th month one time. Why? New temple, new altar.
That's right.
Simple as that. Simple. So now let's go into Leviticus 23, because we've already read that you're supposed to keep each one of these feast days at its appointed time. We've already read that. They have an appointed time when you keep them. And not only do we know the appointed time, we know what to do and how to do it. I've seen no instructions on how to keep a dedication. Okay? 23 and 1, my brother. Go ahead and read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel,
yes,
and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
So the Lord say these are his feasts. These are his. And I don't see dedication in Leviticus 23. No appearance. Go ahead, brother.
6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
Go ahead.
These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their seasons.
So again, these are the feasts of the Lord, and you shall proclaim them in their season. Go ahead.
In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread.
Why we don't get excited about the Lord's feast, y'all? Why we don't get excited about that?
Good question.
We still want to get excited about this other stuff that's going on outside. When we up here setting up for the feast, it should be a little party up here. Matter of fact, I think the next time we set up for one, let's just do that up
right
here. The day we decorate, let's just have a party up here. Grill, cook, do whatever. While we in here decorating and setting up. What y'all think about that? We can put energy into that trash. Why we can't put it into what we do? What verse is that, brother?
That was the end of 6.
Go ahead and read.
In the first day, you shall have an holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
See, he's telling us how to do them. On what day? Go ahead, brother.
But you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day is an holy convocation.
Yeah.
You shall do no servile work therein.
Skip down to 15 and continue.
And you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath.
Yes.
From the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete.
You should count 49 days. Go ahead, brother.
Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall you number 50 days.
Yes, sir.
And you shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord.
He telling you how to do it and when. Skip down to 24 and read.
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying,
Mm-hmm.
in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month,
Yes, sir.
shall you have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets.
He telling you when and what. Skip down and hit 27.
Also on the 10th day of this 7th month,
Mm-hmm.
there shall be a day of atonement.
Yes.
It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and you shall afflict your souls.
Skip down to 33 and continue. That was the day of atonement. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord.
Yes, sir.
On the 1st day shall be an holy convocation.
Now, see, Solomon did his dedication on the front end of these 7 days. Go ahead and read.
Ye shall do no servile work therein.
Mm-hmm.
7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you.
Go ahead.
And you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Yes.
It is a solemn assembly,
Mm-hmm.
and you shall do no servile work therein.
Go ahead.
These are the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
These are whose feasts, brother?
The Lord's feasts.
The feast of the Lord. Go ahead.
To offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day.
Now skip down and read that 44.
And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feasts of the Lord.
So Moses declared the feast of the Lord. Nobody else. Moses did that. So now let's go into 1 Kings chapter 12. Because you get wrapped up in some feast days somebody else set up, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to get yourself in a bad way. 1 Kings 12, 1 Kings chapter 12, and let's pick it up at verse 1. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1. Go ahead and read that, brother.
And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were to come
Shechem.
to Shechem.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. For all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king.
Okay, so Rehoboam, that's Solomon's son. Go ahead.
And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt.
Now skip on down to verse 20. Now Jeroboam was a descendant of Joseph of the tribe of Ephraim, and Ephraim, they sat on that throne of the northern tribes. Okay, so now let's pick it up at verse 20. Go ahead and read.
And it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Israel.
They made him king over Israel. Go ahead.
There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only.
So now David's tribe, the tribe of Judah, which his son Solomon had a son, Rehoboam. Rehoboam sat on Solomon's throne down in the southern part, around Judah. But everybody else, they followed the king of Israel, which was Jeroboam. And so go ahead and continue. What verse is that, brother?
This is verse 21.
Go ahead.
And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors.
So now we know that the Benjamites lived in the southern part, so they have, for the most part, always been attached to Judah. Benjamin and Judah been together. Go ahead and read.
To fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon.
So now they are saddling up to go fight to get the other 10 tribes back. Go ahead and read.
But the word of God came unto Shemaiah, the man of God, saying, speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying. So now the Lord got this man of God, and he's getting ready to give Solomon's son Rehoboam some information. Go ahead and read. Thus saith the Lord, ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Number one, don't go up there and fight against them other 10 families. Go ahead and read. Return every man to his house. Return every man to his house. For this thing is from me. So the Lord say, I'm doing this. I'm separating Israel, and I'm taking all 12 tribes from under the tribe of Judah in David's household. Go ahead and read. They hearkened therefore to the word of the Lord
Mhm.
and returned to depart according to the word of the Lord.
Go ahead.
Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Penuel.
So now Jeroboam was up north. He had them 10 tribes with him. Rehoboam down south in Judah with Benjamin with him. Now Jeroboam is starting to do his thing and do all his building. Go ahead, brother.
And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David.
So now he starts wondering, is the kingship going to turn back to the house of David? Are the people going to go back to the house of David,
Right.
which David's grandson at this time is on the throne? Go ahead and read.
If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah.
See, that brother didn't have, you can see where he was lacking. He didn't even see that the Lord had already set him up to be the king up there. You didn't even have to worry about Rehoboam and Judah and Benjamin, because you was already set up. So now he starts taking steps to take things to make sure his people stay with him when the Lord had already given them to you. Do y'all see that? So now let's see what happened. Go ahead and read.
And they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah.
What verses, brother?
We have verse 28.
Go ahead.
Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold.
And now
said,
he messed up.
Right.
Now he messed up. He made 2 calves of gold. Go ahead.
And said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel.
And we know somebody else said that. Aaron said that. Behold thy gods, O Israel. Go ahead, brother.
Which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan.
So now he built these 2 golden calves, put one in Bethel and one in Dan. Go ahead.
And this thing became a sin.
It became what?
A sin.
Go ahead.
For the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan.
Go ahead.
And he made an house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
So now he
Terrible.
just took some brothers that weren't even Levites and made them the priests. He took brothers that were not Levites.
Terrible.
And it said the lowest of the brothers and made them the priests. Jeroboam doing this now. Go ahead and read.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month.
In what month?
The 8th month.
We just went through the feast in Leviticus 23. Did we see any of them in the 8th month?
No.
No, we did not. We saw the last ones in the 7th month, which is trumpets, atonement, tabernacle, 8th day. After that, no more feast till you get into the 1st month. He made one up in the 8th month, like we just showed you the strangers over there, making up one in the 10th month, calling it dedication, feast of lights, and Hanukkah. Go ahead and read, brother.
On the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah.
Yes.
And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made.
Go ahead.
And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made.
Go ahead.
So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart.
In the month that he got from where, brother?
He devised of his own heart.
And that's what these people around the world doing. They just like we read Nebuchadnezzar.
Yep.
He just built that image and just made up a dedication day
mind.
out of his own mind.
Right.
And them people over there done made up something in the 10th month out of their own mind. Because it's not out of scripture, which they claim they read the Torah. That's nowhere in Torah. What verse, brother?
We're still at 33.
Go ahead.
And ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
Do y'all see that? See, but the book say it became sin what he was doing. Because Moses told you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. The Lord had already given him the northern kingdom. And that's how Levi ended up back down south with Judah and Benjamin, because he had made his own priest. Pretty much kicked them out of the house, okay? So now, we should see that by now. Can we put that image number 5 back up one more time? That image number 5 showing you when, according to the Bible, people did dedication. Right there. That's it. Somebody doing something else is not biblical. So now, let's go in Exodus chapter 32. Exodus 32. Because we see Jeroboam did that golden calf and say, these be your gods, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Egypt. These be your gods.
That's crazy.
Exodus 32, yes, sir, 32:1. 32:1. But see, Jeroboam wasn't the first one that did that. 32:1, my brother. 32:1. Go ahead and read that.
And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods,
yes,
which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me.
Now, if Aaron would have called all the Levites and they got their swords out right then and started cutting down the people that came in there asking that, the Lord would not have had a problem with him. Wouldn't have had a problem at all with him doing
That's
that.
right.
Go ahead and read.
And all the people break off the golden earrings which were in their ears and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Lies, lies, lies. You wore that jewelry out of Israel, out of Egypt.
Right.
Go ahead, brother.
And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it.
Yep.
And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord.
Another lie right there. It was a feast to
What he
these
doing?
false gods. Go ahead.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play.
They rose up to play. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people, which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly.
They turned aside how?
Quickly.
And you still do it quickly. Go ahead.
To this day.
Out
of the way which I commanded them, they have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed thereunto and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people.
Yes.
Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation.
So the Lord say, leave me alone, Moses, so I can get mad enough to go kill every last one of them, and then from your seed, I'll make a whole nother nation of Israel right over. Let me kill every last one of them. So skip down to verse 21 and continue.
And Moses said unto Aaron, What did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought so a great sin upon them?
Y'all see that? He asked Aaron, what did these people do to you that you brought such a great sin upon these people? Go ahead and read.
And Aaron said, Let not thy anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people that they are set on mischief.
Look, we should get a piece of tape and write this people set on mischief and just put it on your mirror every day when you go look in it. So sometime that later on that day when you thinking something crazy and you want to do something crazy and you want to say something contrary to God, then that thought will be right there.
Set on mischief.
I come from some stiff-necked people. Maybe I shouldn't do this right here. Let me change my mind. Maybe we need to be reminded of that every day.
Yeah.
We are a messed up people. And he said right here, set on misbehaving. You set on it. It's almost like if you want to do right, you won't even let yourself do right. Because wrong is easier for you to do. And you like doing it, and it's almost like you remote control got to do it.
Yeah.
Set on mischief. Go ahead and read, brother.
For they said unto me, Make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we want not what has become of him. And I said unto them, Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off.
So Aaron is telling Moses the whole story.
Right.
Go ahead.
So they gave it to me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. And when Moses saw that the people were naked,
they were what?
Naked.
See, that's where you are when you sin against God. Every time you decide to break one of his commandments, you naked before him. Why you want to make yourself naked? Stay clothed in white raiment. Keep your garments clean. Make the right choices the first time. Go ahead and read, brother.
For Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies.
Uh-huh.
Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on the Lord's side?
Uh-huh.
Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him.
Yep.
And he said unto them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel.
Moses told them, the Lord said this right there. What did he say, brother?
Put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp,
yes,
and slay every man his brother.
Go ahead.
And every man his companion, and every man his neighbor.
Go ahead.
And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men.
Do y'all see that? The Lord sent Levi through the camp, and all them people, hey, Aaron, we don't know what happened to Moses. Make us a god. Oh, these be the gods that brought us out of Egypt. When you know you had that anklet on and that bracelet in the earring. You know you was wearing it. And you saw that water split like that. Your ankle bracelet, your anklet and your bracelet didn't do that. You know it didn't do that. So look, we see that. So Jeroboam turned around and did the same thing as king of Israel. So now we see, yeah, we took it down. Okay. So look, we about to go look at this Purim thing real quick. We through with dedication. So we have let the Bible answer to you if you should be doing dedication or not. Okay. Let's go look at this Purim. Esther chapter 3. Esther chapter 3. And let's pick it up at verse 1. Esther 3:1. Esther is out of the tribe of Judah. And of course, Israel is scattered, right? And this king married her because the book says she was very beautiful, okay? 3:1, my brother. 3:1. Go ahead and read that.
After these things, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Haman,
yep,
the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite,
yep,
and advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Go ahead.
And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king so commanded concerning him.
Okay.
But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
Now, reverence was an Israelite. He was out of the tribe of Judah. He said, I'm not bowing to no man. Okay. So now this guy Haman, let's see what he did. Go ahead and read, brother.
Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them.
So I guess they came to him every day saying, man, you supposed to bow to this guy. But go ahead and read.
That they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew.
Go ahead.
And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
He was what, brother?
Full of wrath.
Go ahead.
And he thought scorned to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai.
Go ahead.
Where are we at? I'm sorry, I lost that.
Start at verse 6.
Verse 6. And he thought scorned to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai, wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
So now this guy Haman, not only is he mad at Mordecai, he want to wipe them out. What they call it when you wipe out a nation of people, what they call that? Genocide is what he wanted to do. So skip down, brother, to verse 8 and continue.
And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there was a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom. And their laws are diverse from all people.
So now you got all these people out of this land of Israel scattered throughout your kingdom, and they have some diverse laws from everybody else in the world. Go ahead, brother.
Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
So he's telling the king, so it ain't going to profit you to keep them around. Okay? Go ahead and read, brother.
If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business.
Yes.
To bring it into the king's treasury.
Go ahead.
And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy.
So now he was Israel's enemy, and the king gave this man his own ring. He said, you wear this here. And so he got the permission to go ahead and destroy all the Jews. One more verse, brother.
And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also. to do with them as it seemeth good to thee.
So now he told Haman, now you can do whatever you want to do to these Jews. So this guy, he got in his mind to kill all of them. Let's go into Esther chapter 7. Esther 7, and let's pick it up at verse 1. 7 and 1. 7 and 1. Go ahead and read.
So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen.
Mm-hmm.
And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther?
Uh-huh.
And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
So look, so the king asked his wife, the queen, who was a Jew also, what do you want? And she's about to let him know what that is. Go ahead, brother.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
Go ahead.
For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue.
She said, if you would have just ordered us to be sold, to be slaves, I wouldn't be in there talking to you. We would have accepted that and went on. But go ahead and read.
Although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
Go ahead.
Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so?
Go ahead.
And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman.
Oh, she said, your guy is this man. Go ahead and read.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Because Haman heard what the conversation was. So now he's scared. That was verse 6, my brother. Go ahead and continue.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen. For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
So he saw it was coming. Go ahead, brother.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house?
So look now, so he said, so now you're going to try to get up with my wife? I don't know why he chose to go fall in that bed. Go ahead and read.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
Go ahead.
And Harbona, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon.
He said that those the gallows that Haman built to hang Mordecai, hang him right there. Y'all know that saying, you dig a ditch for somebody and you end up falling in the thing?
Dig it for yourself.
Same thing, right. What verse was that, brother?
That was in the 9.
Go ahead, one more.
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
So now the king was good. Let's go on into that 8th chapter and pick it up at verse 1, because it didn't end right there. There's more to come. Go ahead and read.
On that day did King Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen.
So now he gave Haman's house to Esther. Go ahead.
And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her.
Go ahead.
And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
Go ahead.
And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite.
So now she's not only asking, okay, we got rid of Haman, but Haman have already sent out his messages, and he's already put the word out, and he's already got the hit out on all the Jews, because he had money riding on it, right? So she's trying to get the king to reverse that as well. Go ahead and read.
And his device that he had devised against the Jews. Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces.
Go ahead.
For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come into my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred?
So she asked the king, how can I endure to see the destruction of my people? So now let's go into that 9th chapter and let's find out if the king helped her out, if he answered her petition. Chapter 9, verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Now in the 12th month, that is, the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them.
Now, wait a minute. That's the first thing we see. The Jews had rule over the people that hated them. The king gave them that. Go ahead. Let's see what else, brother.
The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt.
So now they gathered up. Now they were allowed to lay their hands on everybody that sought their hurt. Go ahead and read.
And no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people.
Go ahead.
And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies and officers of the king helped the Jews because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them.
Okay, so now we see another condition. We see that fear fell on everybody. Everybody was scared of Israel. Then we see another thing, that all the rulers, the lieutenants, the deputies, the officers of the king helped the Jews. Do we have those conditions right now in 2024? For us? No, we don't have that. Go ahead and read, brother.
For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out all throughout the provinces, for this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater.
Go ahead.
Thus the Jews smote all their enemies.
So now, the Jews smote who, brother?
All their enemies.
Go ahead.
With the stroke of the sword and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them.
So skip down to 13 and continue.
Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day's decree.
Go ahead.
And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
So now they want to go hang the man's 10 sons. Go ahead and read.
And the king commanded it so to be done.
And
the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
Go ahead, brother.
For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day, also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan, but on the prey they laid not their hand.
Go ahead.
But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 70 and 5,000.
75,000. Go ahead, brother.
But they laid not their hands on the prey.
Skip down to 19 and continue.
Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting.
So now they made the 14th day of the 12th month a day of gladness and feasting. Go ahead.
And a good day, and of sending portions one to another.
Go ahead.
And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far.
So who wrote the letters?
Mordecai.
Did Moses write these?
No.
Mordecai wrote them. Go ahead.
To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same yearly.
Okay, so now he's telling them they should keep the 14th day and the 15th day yearly. Go ahead, brother.
As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy,
yes,
and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor.
Go ahead.
And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them,
yes,
and had cast Pur, that is, the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by the letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
So look, one more verse.
Wherefore they called these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them.
So let's look at all these conditions that they had, and we read across a lot of them. But can we put that image up there? This is why they celebrated Purim. In verse 1, it said the Jews had ruled over those that hated them. They had all the rulers, lieutenants, deputies, and officers in their back pockets. Do we have that right now? It says they hanged this man and his 10 sons. They had rest from all of their enemies. In fact, they killed 75,000 of them. That's what they were celebrating. It's like we running for cover right now. But we always want to go celebrate. We always want a reason to party, to eat, to drink, and to dance. We always want that. But these people had a reason for that. And I'm not telling anybody don't celebrate Purim. If you want to do Purim, do it. But according to what I just read to Mordecai's letter, if you want to do it to his letter, it said the 14th and the 15th day of the 12th month. That's the month Adar. So you talking around end of February, going off into March. Okay. But why are you doing it in around Christmas time? Huh?
Set on mischief.
Yeah. You always want to do something else. But anyway, let's go into Malachi 4, and we just have 2 more places left. Malachi chapter 4, and let's pick it up at verse 4. Malachi 4 and verse 4. 4 and 4, my brother. Malachi chapter 4 and verse 4. What did it say?
Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant.
Remember who?
Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments.
So the book say Moses gave it to you, not Mordecai, okay, and not those people in the land over there. Let's go John chapter 5 and pick it up verse 45. John 5 and 45. John chapter 5 and 45. Because you have people making up stuff out of their own imagination. And you have people doing things they ought not to do. And then they come tell you that you're wrong if you don't do them. Now you get worried. Instead of saying, show it to me in the book. John 5 and 45. Go ahead and read it.
Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father.
Mm-hmm.
There is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust.
Go ahead.
For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me.
Yes.
But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words?
So now, that's plain and simple. Let's go hit our last place, Colossians chapter 2. We're going to pick it up at verse 8. Colossians 2 and verse 8. 2 and 8. Hey, Moses gave you the law. Moses gave you the feast days. Colossians 2 and verse 8, brother. Go ahead and read it.
Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Yes.
After the tradition of men.
It said, don't let somebody deceive you through a vain deceit and philosophy after the tradition of men. Tradition of men. Go ahead, brother.
After the rudiments of the world.
After the things of this world. Go ahead.
And not after Christ.
And not after Christ, because Christ gave Moses those feast days that we look at and observe in Leviticus 23. So in today's lesson, brothers and sisters, we let the book talk and we let you see why the dedication was done, why they had that Purim feast, and the conditions that came along with them. So it's up to you what you do, but you should be able to answer those things by what we read today, okay? And I hope somebody was edified with today's lesson. Thank you for your time.